Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. We have one addition, 7R, approve advertisement for seasonal campground attendant. Is there any other changes?
No, there was a couple updates on some staff reports, but no additions.
Okay. Council? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Keith, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes, December 5, 2018 regular meeting. You have them in your packet. Is there any corrections, changes, or clarification needed? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to adopt the December 5th, 2018 regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Keith,
Second.
second by Dave. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. This now brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Seeing no one, our public open forum is now closed. We have no public hearings. Will bring us to our reports and presentations. Police Department monthly report. Brian?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Activity report for November 2018, some of the numbers we had 10 alarm calls, we did 20 personal assists, we did 73 business assists, we did 28 assists for other agencies, we arrested 6 people for small amount of marijuana and paraphernalia, we had 6 gas no pays, 16 medicals, only 4 accidents, 23 school patrol, 19 suspicious calls. We gave out 223 verbal warnings. And for calls, we had 404. So we had a total of 627, which was very comparable to October. And a little above 2017. So everything pretty quiet as we wind down the year. That's all I have, really.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works Department, Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This week we finished installing the gates, signs, and other miscellaneous items at the dog park, so this is now completed and ready for use. The outdoor rink, we put ice in on the first week of December. Chris Kerfeld from Blue Lakes Plastic donated a plastic liner for the outdoor hockey arena this year, and that helped considerably with making ice, so I really appreciate that donation that he made. We continue ice maintenance daily at the outdoor. We've had a little challenge with the warmer temperatures, but weather looks better going forward here. So things should be good. Sign inventory, we've been going around town and looking at signs that need to be updated that are faded or hard to read. So we've placed an order for some stuff to start getting those updated once they come in, probably 3 to 4 weeks for that order to come in. We put, there was no carbon monoxide detector in the Historical Society I found, so we installed one of those and updated the thermostats that weren't working. We did some pothole patching this week, filled in everything major that we found. And we've also trimmed back the trees that were protruding towards the street and other areas that were causing issues. So that's the main stuff we've been up to.
Good. And one thing is we haven't had to plow any snow, so
That's
that's
correct.
helping you control the budget.
Yeah, no doubt.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Fitness Challenge Park presentation.
Hi. Do you mind if I step in front? I'll talk really loud.
Nope, that's fine. Or you can take the mic with you if you want.
Yeah.
I tend to have a loud voice, but
Well, for TV.
Too loud, you let me know. I don't know if you all got a chance to take a peek at this. I'm going to just set that there for a moment. But this is what the Fitness Challenge Park would look like. There is a company out of Wisconsin that manufactures this equipment, and then the local distributor for Minnesota is called Minnesota-Wisconsin Playground Equipment. There is currently actually the pictures from this came from the Golden Valley Ninja Warrior style fitness playground that exists. It opened in September of 2017, and Mark Klopacki went down and checked it out, and then I also went down with my 3 daughters on a day off of school and let them check it out and play around with it. So we have photos from that. So these are the actual concepts of what it would look like, and then there's also a 40-yard dash. So it would be right alongside the playground equipment itself, and what's great about it is there is an electronic timekeeper, I guess, and so you can race your sibling, your friend, etc. And so it's kind of fun, or your mom. I raced my daughters on there, and it's fun just to challenge each other, and we thought even track practice and that kind of stuff, they could utilize that as well. And then the course itself is also timed. So you can hit a button and then race through the obstacle course and then see what your time is and try to improve. The concept of this playground equipment is geared towards the older upper elementary ages and junior high kids. We have a lot of parks throughout the community, obviously, that target the younger ages. So this would be a nice complement to the splash pad with like our toddlers that are maybe checking that out, and older siblings then to be running around on the fitness equipment. So the proposed location, we had unbiased, we asked the playground distributor to come up and take a look through Sauk Center without any of us. So he did that, looked at all the various existing parks and facilities and areas, and came back with the #1 recommendation being adjacent to the splash pad because of the trail, the campground, et cetera. So that's what we're proposing, is that it would be adjacent to that. As you can see here.
If you want, you can put it back on the
Okay,
easel,
you
so you
good?
don't, we're good.
Visuals? Any questions on the location?
I've got one.
Sure.
Do any of the towns around this area have such a park right now?
That's a great question. No, they do not. So that would be another good point for Sauk Center, selling point, if you will, is that when people are looking at rural central Minnesota and where do we want to move, live, et cetera, no one else has a fitness challenge park like this. Very few have splash pads. I know more are obviously entering that ring as well, but nobody does. So right now, Golden Valley was the first in the state of Minnesota. We're hoping we could be #2, #1 in rural Minnesota. I have heard a rumor that Adam Thielen, you may know him with Minnesota Vikings, from Detroit Lakes, that he is paying for one in Detroit Lakes, but that has not been completed or finished. So our hope is still to be the only one with it. So I think that could be a really good asset for the community.
Any questions?
How much work would this detail to?
Sure, great question as well.
Fruit tip.
So Golden Valley, when it was 3 River Park District that really wanted to, a park needed to be replaced anyway. And it was off of a trail similar to this. So they approached the city and a few other partners. So they wanted what they call a pocket park concept. So you could be biking along the park and stop and do this fitness playground challenge obstacle course and then jump back onto the trail and continue on with their day. It really is just locating the site, purchasing the equipment, and then having the contractors do their business, if you will. So there's some electrical needs underground, and then a turf, and then all of the equipment. So I'd say, honestly, the fundraising will be the biggest thing, and I don't think that's going to be very difficult. There's various foundations and grants and things like that that we can go after. I'd say within a year, we could have it done.
One more question. Has this been brought to the park board?
Yes, it has. Yep.
Yeah. We definitely support it. I mean,
The park board, right,
Yeah.
yep.
Was there ever a question, because there was cost that the city offset with the splash pad after fundraising efforts that we eventually absorbed, what does that look like if that happens? I mean, are there,
Ongoing costs, you mean? Or?
no,
Or
the
upfront?
initial cost?
Sure. So the Golden Valley's budget with theirs was $480,000. Now, that included an all-inclusive play structure, that was right behind this one. So that was a separate deal. So if you take that part off, that was about $170,000. So then you're right around 310 for budgeting purposes. And then 170,000 of that 310 was their artificial turf and the base material underneath it. And then about 100,000 for the actual playground equipment itself, or fitness playground equipment. The city of Golden Valley contributed $80,000 to $90,000, which is typical for them for a park, but in their park budget for equipment. The local Rotary Club there donated $6,000 to $8,000 after they heard about the project for trees and that type of thing. They did not have bathroom facilities there, so they had to put those in. We wouldn't have to do that because they're existing here. So that's a nice thing, or feature, I guess. And then there was a lot of in-kind on the Parks Department as far as irrigation and all of that with Golden Valley. So that would be a consideration as well. They did not have any private or corporate donations received. We don't find that to be the case. We're not asking the city to pitch in the 80 to 90 that Golden Valley did. We're going to fundraise that.
Annual maintenance, is there any annual maintenance?
It's a great question too. Rick Burno, and I might have mispronounced his last name, but he's the director of Parks and Rec down in Golden Valley, and he's been super helpful. Call me anytime, he tells me all the time. And I asked him, okay, here we are 15 months later, what's the maintenance been like? And he said there was one little piece of turf that kind of peeled up, not a big deal, it was fixed very easily. And one other minor thing as well that was covered under warranty. He said otherwise they haven't had any issues, maintenance, that kind of stuff. So, so really it would just be over time, the turf, if it would need replacing. And I think it depends upon the turf too. There's 3 different base turf materials. So we would recommend going with the beefiest, if you will, the longest term, which is about 20 to 30 years of it lasting until it would need to be replaced or fixed up. And even that, I want to say, is 15 grand.
Any other questions, comments? We do have an action item on that, on this coming up here, so. Thank you.
Thank you.
That we'll move on to our action items. Approve Resolution 2018-105, supporting location of proposed challenge park.
And this is just the action that follows up on Brenda's presentation, and I think some of the questions is like, what are you asking for the city? What are you asking us tonight to approve? What the committee is really looking for is the city's allowing them to proceed with that location. And I think we talked about the location where the basketball court is. So then Ben was out doing some measuring on the skate park, and the plan was to not eliminate the basketball court, but relocate it, and it could share with the skate park. So we still would have a basketball court. That was some other people's concerns. So really what we're looking for tonight is just, the committee is looking for the support of the city council allowing that location, so that, if they start into the fundraising, they have to have a location, and we would have some grant applications that may need resolutions of support as we move down the road. Like she said, they're not asking for city funding at this time. The funding is pretty much going to be committed before we pull the trigger on asking the city to go out for bids and to do the project. So The first step is what we're here for tonight, or what they're asking for tonight, and that is simply to support this fitness challenge park in that location and allowing the committee to proceed with those fundraising efforts. And that's Resolution 2018-105 in your packet.
Questions, comments? I think the city seen the benefit of what the splash pad did. And this is just going to be another added feature that I think will benefit the city as a whole, as far as a complete family spot to go
Right.
to.
Right.
When other towns are bringing school bus loads of kids down for the splash pad, I can see that happening with having the only fitness park in the area too. So,
Right.
do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-105 supporting the Fitness Challenge Park project?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, second by Heidi.
Yep.
Yep.
Any last comments or questions? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7B, approve resolution 2018-106, supporting / opposing, or opposing the detachment.
Okay, you have in your packet most of this information, and then I did provide you an additional map this evening that shows where the floodplain is. Logan Cockbrenner at 41833 393rd Avenue, Sauk Center, has submitted a petition for detachment from the city. I did include a copy of the petition, and this council needs to discuss and determine whether you want to support it or oppose the proposal. The property is located almost entirely in the floodplain. There's no further subdivision or development of the property likely to occur. Extension of municipal services to the property is not feasible, and that was determined when he built the house a couple years ago. So he ended up putting in a well and a septic system. However, what's different about this property is the open property to the south and east of the Cockbrenner property is identified as a future growth area in the city's comprehensive plan. And as such, we should carefully consider the petition and give consideration to a solution that would not create a barrier preventing that future development. And because what would happen if this was improved in its entirety, that little leg that is the driveway, as you can see on the map, would kind of prevent a barrier from the contiguousness of the city down to that future growth area. I did talk to Logan. A couple options could be a section line detachment. Anything south of the section line could be detached, and that north, which would be the driveway, and that fragment of land along the river would maybe stay in the city. That could be an option. Any resolution that has opposition in it, though, would go to an administrative law judge. So how a detachment would work is he would petition the city and the township, and the city can do a resolution in support or a resolution in opposition. Those are our two choices. If you felt that you could support the southern half, but you want to keep the north end, then it might be better for him to resubmit a petition, or we amend the petition to be just that point, because if we opposed any portion of his petition, then it would still go in front of a law judge. So each time you go through it, there's different steps that has to happen, and then there's costs that incur. The township, on the other hand, they don't have to comment. They can if they want, but generally they don't, because if they do, then they have to share in the cost as well. So typically what might happen in a situation like this, the city is either going to oppose it or they're going to support it, and the township's going to have no comment, and then the costs get shared between the city and the landowner, and the township is left out of it. So that's kind of how that works. So if you look at your map, and you can see the property that he has, it's in the floodplain and the future growth area, and there's another issue too that you might want to look at, and I provided that on your map, is the city water kind of comes around from the north and comes around from the south, and there's potential in the future for some kind of a connection of a water main, a loop of water main in there. And that was the map that I showed. Like the green is kind of like the water where it is, and the blue is maybe some potential connections. So that is another thing that you may want to look at. So Logan and his representative are both here this evening if you have any questions for them. But how the Minnesota state statute reads is that if they have, or whether it's rural in nature, whether it's served by city services, and they look at the symmetry of the city. The law judge doesn't necessarily look at other things. They don't look at how much taxes you're going to pay. They don't look at how the city is necessarily expanding. They look particularly at that parcel. So if you're inclined to say, no, we're going to oppose the whole thing, it'll go between the judge can take it all out, or they can leave it all in. It totally goes up to them. So you're not the final decision on this particular case. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. I don't know if you have any questions for Logan or for Neil, who is here on his behalf regarding the petition itself, or if you want to have some discussion first or ask some questions of me, whether it's process related or related typically to this piece of property or specifically to this piece of property.
Questions for the landowner? Or to Neil? I guess the only question I've got is if there was a chance that if we did decide to keep the north of the section line, if that was an option that would be considered as far as rewriting the petition to save both the landowner and the city. That's okay? Okay. Because then it would save both of us legal fees. So that's an option that I just wanted to make sure, so. Anyone else have anything?
Okay.
So
I think if he's willing to do that, I think we could still eventually get water if we did
Right.
loop it.
Right.
We have no clear plans in the future, but at least it's not gonna block us from
We keep
anything.
access anyway.
We
yep.
keep
Yeah.
access anyway,
Yep.
so. Any other questions for the landowner or for Vicky? Okay. Do I have a motion to,
Well, I think
or go ahead?
we do need to keep access. I think that's clear.
Yeah.
It's been the long-term plan to, at some point, expand that way and loop the water. So we need that. The other thing is, if we do release that property to the township and we expand out there, we may very well be getting it back again in some number of years, only we'll be paying to get it back then.
True. The only thing is it's unbuildable because of the floodplain.
Yeah, but if it gets isolated, if we end
Oh.
up growing around it,
True. But that's something, I don't know if, we don't know if that could happen in
We don't
5
know when that
years
might
or
happen.
30
No.
years from now, so. It could happen when none of us are around here to do it, so. Do I have a motion to, one of the three options, opposing it in full, supporting the detachment in full, or opposing detachment of the portion of property north of the section line, or basically ask for a rewrite of the petition?
I think what we would end up doing is have him to rewrite the petition, just taking this south of the section line, and then your resolution would be supporting that.
Right.
And it just takes the stuff north of the section line off the table.
I'll make that motion, Chief.
Okay, we have a motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Everybody understands what the
this is
motion?
number 3 then?
No.
Okay.
Number 3.
Basically, yeah, and then he'll
Third
rewrite the
option.
petition.
You made a number 4.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually made a
Yeah.
number 4.
Number
I followed it.
Well,
Okay.
So, any other questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
aye.
Abstentions? Motion carries 4 in favor, 1 against. Seven C, approve resolution 2018-107, adopting updated purchasing policy.
The city's purchasing policy follows Minnesota state statute, lays out how approvals for purchases are made, and the thresholds that employees and committees have for purchases based upon the dollar amount. In 2018, the Minnesota statute was amended to raise the threshold for competitive bidding to $175,000. Purchases projected to exceed that amount are required to follow the competitive purchasing statute. This amendment to the policy, which is attached, simply adds that language, and it matches state statute. The city has, though, as a matter of practice, gone to competitive bidding at a much lower threshold. We find that's a way for us to save quite a bit of money by doing that. So What I've done tonight is just included Resolution 2018-107, adopting the updated purchase policy by changing the competitive bidding threshold to match state statute.
So can we, can we still keep our $100,000? Or we're automatically, this is changing everything to 175?
It automatically goes to 175 for the policy itself, but you can have your internal policy and ask staff to go competitive bidding at any number. And we typically do it at over 50,000,
Oh,
so
I thought it was 100. Or was there previous state statute 100,000?
there was 50, then it went to 75, then it went to 100, then it went to 150, and now
Okay.
it's 175.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do I have a
Yep, go ahead.
do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-107, adopting the updated purchasing policy?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Dave, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Any other questions? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve Resolution 2018-108, authorizing advertisement for bids.
Okay. The fire department, as you know, was successful in obtaining an AFG grant, which is an Assistance to Firefighters grant through FEMA for the purchase of air apparatus for the department. This is the SCBA, the self-contained breathing apparatus. The grant award was for $126,790. The city share for the grant will be $6,037. So the federal part is the $120,000. The department has developed specifications for the purchase. They're now prepared to advertise for bids. Because this is a federal award, competitive bidding is required. So even that $175 we just adopted doesn't apply to anything with federal dollars. Federal dollars require competitive bidding. So then you have resolution attached in your packet, 2018-108, approving the specs and authorizing advertisement for bids for the fire apparatus. And I do have the complete list of specifications as well. It's not included in your packet, but the department worked on those. So we're looking to approve the resolution. It will be advertised twice in the newspaper and will be publicly opened on Thursday, January 31st here at City Hall. And then the City Council could potentially award that as early as the first meeting in February, but no later than the second meeting in February, because the bids stay open for 20 days. So,
Questions? Comments? Obviously, with the grant like that, we would be silly not to
Yeah.
accept it. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-108, approving specifications and authorizing advertisement for bids for fire apparatus?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, we do have a second.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any last minute questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve Resolution 2018-109, approving interfund transfers.
each year, and this is an annual activity, is that the City Council approves various transfers between funds. What they are is laid out in your packet, but it transfers fire department share of the City Hall bond payment to the bond fund. It transfers stormwater fees to the bond fund. It transfers future equipment purchases to a sinking fund out of the general fund. There was one, the apartment complex abatement to the bond fund, and what that was money had been set aside for a future project of Main Street, which happened the year after the apartments. So that set that aside. A small city's transportation dollars that we received this year will go into the sinking fund, and then they will be able to do a little larger project next year. And then we have 2 loan repayments from the general fund. One was to purchase the ambulance garage, and the other was for a fire pumper. So those are being paid back annually to the general fund. So you have a total of interfund transfer activity of $564,888.93.
Questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-109, approving the interfund transfers?
So moved.
Motion by Keith, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7F, approve pay request number 1, airport paving project. Mark Lee.
This was for the airport road paving, and that was just a very simple project. We have this payment, and then there'll be one payment in the spring, which will be the retainage. The bid amount was $76,727. The work completed was $70,028.32, because it's bid on quantity, so it came in under a little bit. So we have, after the retainage, we have an amount due of $66,574.40 to Markley Excavating, and this is funded 90% FAA, 5% MnDOT Aeronautics, and 5% city. So that is our share of this request. So, but tonight, the request is simply to approve pay request number 1 to Markley Excavating.
Questions? Do I have a motion to approve pay request number 1 to Markley Excavating Incorporated for $66,574.40?
So moved.
Motion by
second.
Keith, second by Diane. Any other questions? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve Resolution 2018-110 designating polling place.
This is something new for you as well, and as the legislature was busy, and so we have to publicly designate polling places for the next year, every year, even if you're not having an election. And in case you happen to call a special election or something, then we would have the polling place already designated. So Minnesota Statute 204B, Subdivision 1, requires that we, by ordinance or resolution, designate polling place every year at this time. This prevents changes to polling places less than 90 days prior to an election, unless it becomes unavailable due to an emergency. So the attached resolution designates Sauk Center City Hall as the official polling place for special and general elections for 2019.
Questions? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-110 designating polling place?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve Resolution 2018-111 supporting SRTS application.
I see the resolution didn't make it in the packet, but one of the recommendations of the comprehensive plan is to take efforts to make Sauk Center a more walkable community. One of the avenues to help make that happen is through the Safe Routes to School program, and you are aware that we have applied, but we were unsuccessful in the past. But we do have an opportunity to apply for a Safe Routes to School planning grant in conjunction with the public school and Centricare through its community wellness program. The city would be the applicant and the fiscal agent, and the grant would pay for any planning necessary to allow us to go to the next level, which is implementation. So we have met with the school and representatives from Centricare, and Centricare's health and wellness section has been successful with this before, so they're going to be they're proposing to work with us on this. So what I'm looking for tonight is just to support the Safe Routes to School grant application, and then we will proceed with applying for that planning grant. And then once that is complete, then that puts us in a much better position to plan for the actual grant to install. So that's what we're looking for tonight, is the support of the Safe Routes to School grant application.
Questions? Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-111 supporting Safe Routes to School grant application?
So moved.
Motion by Heidi.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Last minute questions? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7I, approve 2019 boards and commission appointments.
Do you want to go through these one at a time, or do you just want me to read them all, or do you want to read them?
Just do them all.
We can do them. The one thing, I can read them. The park board has got 3 positions to be appointed for a 2-year term. Michael Gardner and Ryan Relke submitted their names. They are now serving on the park board now. So
Yeah.
we still have 1 position open for that. I recommend that we appoint those 2. Planning Commission, we have 1 position, appoint for a 3-year term. Roy Walls has put his name in for that, and I recommend that we appoint Roy to that. Public Utilities Commission, we have 1 position for a 3-year term. Mark Roberg, who is serving now, put his name in for reappointment, and I recommend that we go with that. Senior Center Board, we have 3 members to be appointed for a 3-year term. Alice Rothfork, Elaine Meyer, and Bonnie Zerbis have all put their names in. There's one opening for a 2-year term.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So Alice and Elaine would be for 3-year terms, and Bonnie Zerbis would be for a 2-year term. I recommend that we appoint those 3 people. And I'm gonna jump over to the EDA board. There's one position to be appointed for a 1-year unexpired term. BJ Welly has put his name in the hat for that one. I recommend that we appoint him to the EDA board for an unexpired term, effective January 1st, 2019, and expiring December of 2019. And the Center Care Sauk Center Board, there's one position, and the hospital board has said that Jody Lavoy would be their appointment for that, and I recommend that we appoint her. I skipped over the Convention and Visitors Bureau on purpose. I think that we need to look at the language on that board as far as the members. What's printed actually in your packet is different from what is actually, we changed the language of those, of the people that are up. We eliminated the lodging and/or hospitality industry language. So it actually is open to the whole public, basically, not just that. And there's a certain amount of conflict, in my opinion, on a couple positions, so I'd rather hold off on the position appointments for there until the next meeting, until
Sounds
maybe
good.
Personnel Committee can look at it and make sure we don't have any gray areas when it comes to that membership.
Right.
So
I'll make,
with leaving that out, do I have a motion to appoint all the people that I recommended, unless someone has something?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Diane to make the appointments,
Second.
and seconded by Dave. And that's leaving out the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Exactly.
Any other questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve Resolution 2018-112, establishing 2019 administrative fee schedule.
The administrative fee schedules are adopted every year by resolution. I do have the resolution and the attached administrative fee schedule for you. You'll see there is a column that says proposed 2019, and those are the proposed amendments that we had at the time that we put the packet together. But I wanted you to refer to the equipment charges on page 49. And those are the items mostly in the Public Works Department, not necessarily that we don't rent the equipment out, but we do have to have a fee schedule in case the equipment needs to be used for some purpose, like when we had the disaster and we had to bill FEMA. So there's a couple of recommendations for change. If you go to the 5th one down, the skid loader with bucket includes operator. We're recommending that goes to $80 an hour. You go down about 5 or 6 more, pickup with operator to $60 an hour, as well as the tractor below it with operator to $60. And then jump down to the self-propelled steel roller. That would be the $200 a day or $30 an hour. And then the concrete saw, we want to make sure that it's kind of the concrete saw is up there, and then it's also saw cutting further down. We're going to combine those. It's going to be $40 an hour plus $3 a lineal foot to cut it because of the cost of the blades. And then you get down to the manpower rate. It hasn't been updated for some time. So we're saying the manpower rate is $60 an hour or $90 if it's overtime. So we have kind of a manpower rate established. And yeah, that's the only changes that we're recommending in that department. And then the other ones that were recommended was the rental of City Hall into $20 for a unit of government or $30 for nonprofit. And then the airport board is recommending the T-hanger for a weekend rental, if it happens to be a vacant T-hanger, just to go to $40 for the weekend and delete the weekly rental altogether. We do have a driveway access permit for a curb cut, like if you want to put in a new driveway. It's a $25 permit fee. The council kind of had adopted that policy. This is the fee that you talked about at that time. I think the other things in here, the senior center went to $25 for a 2-hour meeting instead of $20. The ambulance department, they had additional patients sitting on a bench, went from $275 to $280. BLS emergency went to $790 from $775. Non-emergency to $790 from $775. And advanced life support with a nurse from $1150 to $1175. Those numbers are really in there because we have met the threshold now. We have to start charging Minnesota Care tax, which is 2% on all revenues, except for Medicare revenues. And so this rounding up basically covers that fee that we're going to have to pay. And that is all of it for the administrative fee schedules, unless you have some comments or questions that you would like to add or change. If not, it's Resolution 2018-112.
The one thing that I was questioning was on page 49 on the animal publication costs, when we have to put an ad in saying that we got a dog or a cat, so $35 seems really cheap for that ad. I'm thinking it should go to at least 50.
We can do that. We're doing it over Facebook now, so it's free. But if we did have to publish it, yeah, it would be costly. So if you want to recommend 50, we can do that.
I would recommend 50.
I'm looking at the CPR fees. Do we supply the Recessa Annies?
For what?
Our ambulance department, do they supply the Recessa Annies?
Yeah.
For the?
Yep, they supply the equipment.
And there's equipment that has to be used at each time that that training takes place, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that 60, maybe those fees are a little low too, I don't know.
These have been in effect, we adopted it last year, so they just increased it for 2018.
Okay,
The ambulance department did review this,
okay.
so, I can either ask them, and then if they feel,
No, if they reviewed it, I'll take them at that.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was that.
Yep, all the departments got their fee schedules for review.
Okay, as long as they've got that cost factored in.
Okay, I will verify that
I'm
with them.
satisfied.
Anyone have anything else? Page 50 on the arena. On entire building rental. It's $500 a day and $300 a day, or for each additional day. I can live with that, but I was wondering if we shouldn't put an extra line in there for like other than civic events. Like if someone is gonna rent the whole building for a wedding or something like that, shouldn't go to $750. Just a separate line item, mainly because we've had a few issues up there when it's rented out for a wedding or something else, and we've had a lot of police issued costs on there. So rather than, raise it and go straight across the board, so like, Ladies Night Out and Midwest Machinery and Gun Show, where basically we haven't had any issues, it would stay the same 500. But since we've had issues with other things, then maybe we should have a separate line item in there.
How would you
Yeah.
what verbiage would you
Well,
use?
that's one of the things that I was thinking maybe policy's gotta look at, or somebody's got.
Well, otherwise, maybe we need to have a deposit put in there against any potentials.
That'd be
I mean, that
a-
could be
We do have
applied to
a- we-
everybody, but chances are the gun shows, they're all just
we
gonna
have
get
a
it back.
We do have
But
that.
in case,
We do have a
that
policy, we do have a deposit.
Already, but it's a $250 deposit.
which is applied towards your rental. You get it back.
yeah, that's.
You,
yeah, I'm
you'll
not
you'll
talking
get your
about that.
deposit back if there's no damage or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
But if there was the I see, so you'd have a $500 total to rent it, $250 deposit. That's how it is now?
Yes. Right? Yeah, that's what it is right now. And then they get the 250 back if there's been no issues.
So I'm looking at the fact that we got other arenas around the area that they're getting as much as $1,500 a day.
Have
And
we
we're- And
been,
we're sitting at 500.
have we been
So are
retaining
we-
that
What?
deposit?
I mean, if we've had problems, we're keeping.
We only keep the
deposit.
deposit in instances if there's been damage or issues.
But we have.
We have kept it.
Okay.
And at times, we have kept it. Most of the time, it gets given back because haven't been issues. And like when you were talking about maybe not damage issues, you were talking about
Or
maybe the
just-
police had to get called for something.
Right, nobody's
And-
getting
and
charged
those
for
costs
that,
are-
but it's still a cost for the taxpayers.
Right.
So I was just, looking at it that fact,
Yeah.
I think that, legally, I think we're going to have, this is the rate. We can't discriminate between, I know you're saying like a civic or maybe a governmental, but yet gun show's not governmental, and how do you differentiate? I don't know. I think that's something we'd want to look at before we
Right.
just put it in here. And so maybe the committee, the policy committee or the finance committee wants to dig into that deeper. We can always amend the fee
We can
schedule
always
during
do
the
that.
year.
Yeah.
but, like I stated earlier, I like to have discussion at this level to see where we want to go.
Right.
Rather than, this is the place.
If you want, I can put that on the committee agenda to review.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would think so.
I think they should.
A serious need to look
Definitely.
at it. When other people are getting $1,500 for a day for their arena, and we're sitting at 500 just because we're Sauk Center, it doesn't
I think
make it right.
3
Our
to
costs
4
are the
extra
same,
meetings would
so-
be good.
Okay, anyone else have anything else? Cleanup calls on fire department, is $200 enough? We call out the whole department to clean up the intersection like we did last week, and it's water and skid loader and manpower, and is $200 close enough, or should we bump it to 3?
The last time they increased it was for 2014.
Yeah. Time to raise it.
Right, so it's been 4 years, and the price of equipment and the water and stuff doesn't get
Well, yeah,
any
and
cheaper.
manpower has gone
And
up.
manpower is
Yep.
going up, so. I was thinking $300, but maybe that's not enough,
No.
No, that's not enough.
so I'm looking for, and so we can go to the committee with that one too and have them look at it. See what the
Yeah,
last couple
let's
are.
See
Okay.
what kind of costs there really
Yeah.
are. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll talk to the chief on that, too.
Right, because in the last 4 years, or even some of these have been 2007, it's kind of
Yep.
like, the wages and everything, the equipment prices have gone up, not to be shortchanging ourselves or the taxpayers to get some of this recouped. Any other questions on that? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2018-112 adopting 2019 fee schedule for administrative user fees?
Motion to approve.
I'll
Motion
second.
by Dave
I'll second.
and second by Diane, and we will take those questionable items to committee. Okay. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7K, approve resolution 2018-113, establishing 2019 schedule of penalties.
This is very similar to what you did. It's just a different type of fee, and these are the penalty fees, and they're for like code violations, things like alcohol, street excavations, impounding animals, traffic violations, nuisance violations, and that type of thing. And you do have the list in there, and you also have the ordinance and the city code number that it is attached to. And we do not have any recommendations for change for this year for this administrative penalty schedule. So we're looking for Resolution 2018-113, adopting the schedule of offenses and voluntary administrative penalties.
Questions? Comments? Anyone want to see any changes to anything on this? Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 2018-113, adopting a schedule of offenses and voluntary administrative penalties pursuant to 10.98 for 2019?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve ordinance 785 establishing 2019 fee schedule for licenses/permits.
This is the last fee schedule you'll be looking at this evening. This is the fees and licenses. This is things like alcohol, liquor licenses, garbage hauler licenses, building permits, zoning permits, those types of things. And they are all listed in your packet. There are no recommended changes at this time. And so this is by ordinance rather than by resolution. So ordinance number 785, reaffirming the fees for city licenses and permits and services.
And these can be changed.
You have the right anytime to change during the year if you want to update them. We just reaffirm everything at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And, but then we do have the option to change it if we feel like we want to.
Because I've got a lot of them that I think should be
was
changed,
gonna-
so I was thinking
agree.
that.
Who reviews these?
We look at the different departments,
Okay.
whoever it happens to be.
'Cause-
Some of these, though, when you get to license and permits, things like alcohol, those types of things, you have to have public hearings to do those.
Oh, okay.
Building and land, building and zoning, that's adoption of a state fee schedule. So these are a little different than just picking a number.
Right.
We have to tie it back to the statute that it goes to. So if you want to change anything in here, this is something that would may result in a public hearing to do it.
Okay.
Because boy, there's a lot of them that haven't been changed since.
Well, 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
a
some of
lot
those-
of things have changed in
Yep.
Yeah,
17 years.
busy year ahead for you folks.
Thanks, Keith. But that's one of the, I think that should go to a committee to look at both
Definitely.
pages
Yep.
and
Definitely.
take a serious look at it. In the meantime, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 785 establishing the fees for city licenses, permits, and services?
So moved.
Motion by Keith, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve ordinance 786 authorizing summary publication of ordinance.
So what this is because that was an ordinance that you just passed, it requires publication, and in order to avoid having to spend the money to publish the entire fee schedule, we're asking to adopt ordinance 786, which authorizes us to give summary publication of 785. And the title of the ordinance is supposed to summarize what it was about. So it's an ordinance of the City of Sauk Center authorizing summary publication of ordinance 785, summarizing and reaffirming fees for city licenses and permits, and provided for subsequent review, modification, and amendment. So if that title I just read, if people can read that and say, yes, this was about fee schedules, then you're okay to go ahead and adopt this and let us publish it in summary format.
Questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 786 authorizing summarizing summary publication of ordinance 785 establishing fee schedule for licenses and permits?
So moved.
Motion by Diane, second.
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7N, approve resolution 2018-114 awarding 2019 fuel contract.
So we did receive quotes. We advertised for the fuel bid. We were on a 2-year bid. We advertised for a 2 or a 5. People could bid on one or the other or both. We did get 4 for the 2-year bid. Holiday Station Stores gave 10 cents a gallon for unleaded, 10 cents for diesel, and 10 cents for diesel number 2. Truckers Inn did 10 cents for unleaded and 15 for diesel. Gas Mart did 3 cents across the board. Isaac's North Star did 12 cents across the board. And then also on the 5-year, Isaac's North Star gave us a 5-year of 13 cents across the board. So you have to kind of do the math a little bit. We did include in your packet how many gallons of gas and how many gallons of diesel we've bought each year for the last 9 years. And you can see it kind of splits about half and half. So if you were inclined to do the math to see which made more sense to go with, it's about half gas and half diesel. So what we're going to ask you to do tonight is, do we want to go with a 2-year bid and select a 2-year bid, or do we want to go with the 5-year bid and to lock in that 13 cents? So the Isaac's North Star is gives us the best discount over the entire 2-year term, but Truckers Inn does have 15 cents on diesel and 10 cents on gas. So kind of have to do the math there to figure out which direction you want to go.
Question, first of all, are you comfortable with doing a 5-year bid, or since there's only one, or are you more comfortable going with the 2-year?
Yeah, the other stations declined the bid for 5 years.
Right.
I don't have a problem going with a 5-year bid.
I don't, for what it's worth, I don't really have a problem with going with a 2-year bid, because it really isn't that,
Yeah,
I mean, either way, I'm
Yeah.
okay either way.
I
It doesn't
understand
matter,
what
you
you're
know.
saying, too.
Take a 5-year bid, that's fine. 2-year bid, that's fine too.
Heidi?
Well, I'm just doing the math. Truckers Inn discount for the diesel, if we spread it out for the 5 years, would match Isaac's North Star, and they do one better. Well, actually, it would match for what he's offering his 5-year bid. Because if you basically take half of your Truckers Inn being unleaded, half of your Truckers Inn being diesel, it equals out, but we'd only secure it for 2 years with Truckers Inn, whereas in Isaac's North Star, we'd get it for the full duration of 5 years at 13 cents discount. We wouldn't be able to secure Truckers Inn for an additional 3 years where we can with Isaac's North Star.
Right. Diane, any comments, or?
I have no qualms about doing a 5-year bid.
Okay. I think as long as, I think on a 5-year, we're probably, for city-wise, we're coming out the best.
Yep.
I can see probably the options why the others didn't do a 5-year, because like us, we don't have a crystal ball in front of us.
such a volatile market that,
Yeah.
Right, so I'll be looking for a motion to approve resolution number 2018-114, awarding the 2019 either 2-year or 5-year fuel bid to whoever wants to make that motion and to who you want to. Length of year and who you want to award it to.
I'll make the motion for the 5-year bid, Isaac's North Star.
Okay. We have a motion to award resolution number 2018-114, awarding Isaac's North Star the 2019 to 2024 fuel bid by Diane. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Dave. Any other questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve resolution 2018-115, awarding 2019 to whatever refuse collection contract.
So we have the garbage contracts, and these are for the city garbage. This isn't for citywide. This is just for us, for the garbage that the city has. We got both a 2-year and a 5-year. Waste management for 2-year annually came out to $14,056.17, and West Central for a 2-year is $15,278.10 annually. And then for a 5-year bid, waste management was $13,564. West Central was $16,518. So how that works is we give both companies, and we advertise, and they're the only 2 companies that bid. We give them a list of all the locations, the size of the cans, the size of the dumpsters, what days we want them to be picked up, and then they bid equally. So they both had the same thing to bid against. And so we have had both firms in the past, Waste Management when it was, it was Becker's. And then we've also had West Central, so. And you also have the option to go with a 2-year or a 5-year.
Questions? First question I've got is to council, which you're comfortable with, the 2-year or 5-year?
Well, again, I'm comfortable with 5 years.
So am I.
Yeah.
So am I.
The one thing that I always have a question about is on the contract, if we did do like a 5-year and we have an additional site, does that change the contract, or is that wrote into the language that if we all of a sudden end up with 2 extra dumpsters in a different spot, that this contract's null and void?
What happens is if we add a site or we change the size of a can at the site, the contract then gets amended to reflect that. So if it's a 4-yard dumpster and we were only paying for a 2, we want to upgrade to a 4, that price will be upgraded to the price of a 4-yard dumpster. And what's happened in the past, it was like we had a 4-yard here for X amount of dollars, so they upgraded this 2-yard to a 4-yard for that same amount of dollars. So it's consistent, but we're not going to get more service for this
No.
price. We're going to increase the price.
Okay,
That's why the departments went through it with pretty much a fine-tooth comb to make sure we had everything in there we needed.
okay. Because that's one of the things, if you go with the 5-year, in 5 years, we could have a
Things
lot
will
more
change, yeah.
sites or even changes, and then pretty soon, the original contract's been amended so many times. That's the reason why I'm not really leaning toward a 5-year because of the length of the time.
Okay. Well, we have an out clause, right, 90 days notice or some such thing.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
True.
if things get out of hand, we'll
Yeah.
just redo it.
This is weekly pickup
Yes.
Yes.
Well, they're all different.
for the bigger
Some are
ones, maybe?
Yeah,
Weekly.
like the
Monthly.
campground is twice a week in the
Okay,
summertime.
Okay.
The ice arena is less often in the summertime, so.
Okay, what's the council's wishes? Do I approve resolution 2019-115, accepting the bid for 2019 to whatever year you choose, refuse collection services, and from wherever you want to award the bid to?
All right. I'll make a motion for a 5-year contract with Waste Management.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion from Dave, a second from Diane, to accept the 5-year bid from Waste Management. Does everyone understand the motion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve resolution 2018-116, accepting bids for forfeited vehicles.
The city council has previously approved these be offered for sale, and now they were offered through sale through the Department of Administration online bidding program. They sold a 2000 Ford Focus, a 2001 Toyota Camry, and a 2010 Ford Escape for those dollar amounts indicated, $820, $700, and $37.25. So we're looking to approve Resolution 2018-116, accepting the bid and authorizing the sale. And I didn't have the names on there because the bids closed just as I typed up the resolution, but it's just a bidder number. I don't have the name yet, so.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2018-116, accepting bids and authorizing sale of forfeited vehicles?
So moved.
Motion by Keith, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve resolution 2018-117, declaring property excess and advertising for sale.
The Stearns County Attorney's Office has released to the police department 2 forfeited vehicles. There was one in your packet and one additional one that came in since then. We have a 2008 Volkswagen and a 2010 Cadillac CTS. We're requesting to approve Resolution 2018-117, declaring them as excess and advertising for sale. Now, what happens is we have to apply for a title, and that process has to happen. So once the titles come in, they'll be ready to go to be advertised. So Resolution 2018-117.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-117 declaring property as excess and advertising for sale?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by
Second.
Dave, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7R, approve advertisement for seasonal campground attendant.
I did have for you the campground attendant job description. Our campground attendant from 2018 has informed us he won't be returning for 2019. So we are recommending to fill the position. You see the timeline there, December 19th, the council approves it. We advertise it from the 20th till January 17th. We accept applications through January 31st, review them through February 15th, conduct interviews through March 1st, park board recommendation on March 5th, council appointment on March 6th, position begins on May 1st. So that's our plan. We'll see if it happens. But our advertising, we're going to do a little more different this year. We have happyvagabonds.com, snowbirdrvtrails.com, camphost.org, and workcampingjobs.com. A lot of people are looking for these kinds of positions, and we've kind of advertised mostly locally before. And this is an opportunity to people that might be in Arizona or Texas or Florida are thinking, hey, Minnesota might be worth a shot, and we might reach out to a lot more people this way. So we're kind of anxious to try that and see what happens. But in the meantime, we're looking to just approve the timeline and allow us to proceed forward with advertising the position.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve the timeline and rate?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. We have no unfinished business or new business. Now brings us to our consent agenda. We have scheduled claims of $119,518.62 with a total of the same amount. We have November checks, paid claims and payroll of $1,081,494.25. We have a contribution from the men's card playing group, resolution number 2018-118 of $202.25 to be allocated to the senior center. And on behalf of the council and the city, we'd like to thank them for that contribution.
So, excuse me, just one moment.
Yes.
I have on the payment of claims halfway down, there's a John Weiss Ford bill for $135.45. I'm requesting that be removed because we got that repaired under warranty. So it changes the claims to $119,383.17.
Okay. Everyone got that change?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions or concerns? Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
We have a motion by Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. We have no informational items. This brings us to the end of our agenda, but first I want to thank Keith for all the years of being on the council and his city service, since this is his last meeting on behalf of the city. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And then, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Dave,
I'll second.
second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
That's a lot of stuff you covered. But I
That is